trade deadline coming up at the end of the month, it got me thinking about some different trades that have happened in the last 10 years. Some of them have been good, and a lot have been bad. Today's video, we're gonna focus on the bad. I'm gonna be telling you about the 8 worst trades in Major League Baseball in the last 10 years. Because let me tell you, oh man, there's a lot. So many that I could probably even make a part 2 for this, so if you guys want to see me do that, you know what to do. Hit the like button. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, this is the place to be. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know if you think there's another trade that I should mention in part 2 or a trade that I particularly left out. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. I'm always talking baseball over there. And if you guys are going to be heading out to any sporting events in the near future, make sure to go over to SeatGeek and use the code Giraffe at checkout to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Now it's time to take a trip down memory lane and talk about the 8 worst trades in the last 10 years in Major League Baseball. In no particular order, the first trade we're going to be talking about is the Dansby Swanson trade. In December of 2015, the Arizona Diamondbacks traded Dansby Swanson, Ender Inciarte, and Aaron Blair to the Atlanta Braves in exchange for Shelby Miller and Gabe Speyer. So this is a bad trade for a bunch of different reasons. The first problem with this trade was that the Arizona Diamondbacks took Dansby Swanson with the first overall pick 6 months earlier in the 2015 Major League Baseball draft. So they traded their #1 overall pick from that season, along with a center fielder coming off a career year and a top pitching prospect, to the Braves for Shelby Miller and Gabe Speyer. Now here's where the trade gets really bad. Dansby Swanson's a good baseball player. Swanson came up in 2016, played well. 2017 struggled a bit, improved in 2018. He's having a nice 2019 season thus far. He was a #1 overall pick and they gave up on him in under 6 months to get a player in Shelby Miller. I know Dansby Swanson right now doesn't have the best numbers, but watching this guy play, you know he's going to be a special player. He's a franchise type guy for the Braves at shortstop. Not to mention they got Ender Inciarte, who is very productive for them. And then going back to what the Diamondbacks received, Gabe Speyer never did anything. He's currently in the Royals organization. And in 3 seasons with the Arizona Diamondbacks, Shelby Miller had a 6.35 ERA, a 5-18 record in 29 games appeared in, 28 starts, 139 innings pitched, a 1.676 whip. So while this one hasn't 1000% come back to hurt the Diamondbacks, if you've watched Dansby Swanson play, you know they're going to regret this one. He's just way too good of a player to give up for basically nothing. For trade number 2 of the video, we're going to be going out to the Oakland A's, trading Josh Donaldson to the Toronto Blue Jays. Back on November 28th of 2014, the A's traded Josh Donaldson to the Toronto Blue Jays in exchange for Brett Lawrie, Kendall Graveman, Sean Nolan, and Franklin Barreto. Oh, Oakland A's, I'm so sorry about this one. This coming off a 2nd year in a row where Josh Donaldson was playing at an MVP type level for the A's, and they traded him for almost nothing. Brett Lawrie only played in 1 season with the A's. That was 2015, where he had 16 homers, 29 doubles, 60 RBIs, hit .260 with the 706 OPS. Not a very productive player, definitely underperformed, and he hasn't been in the major league since 2016. Kendall Graveman's currently with the Chicago Cubs, and in his brief stint with the Oakland A's, he didn't do much. A career ERA at 4.38, 23 and 29 record. Not to mention the constant battle of injuries with him. Sean Nolan made a total of 6 appearances with the A's, a 5.28 ERA, 1.621 whip, hasn't been in the major league since. And Franklin Barreto, only 23 years old, really hasn't made much of an impact at the major league level just yet. Highly touted prospect, but he's definitely underperformed. And then we go to the Blue Jays getting Josh Donaldson, and we know how that story goes. Donaldson wins the MVP in 2015 for the Blue Jays with a monster season, 41 homers, 41 doubles, 123 RBIs, 297 average, 371 on base, 568 slugging, and an OPS at 939. Put together 3 straight seasons of 30+ homers and an OPS over 920. In 4 years with the Blue Jays, he had 116 homers, 105 doubles, 316 RBIs, 281 average, 383 on base, 548 slugging, and a 931 OPS. The Oakland A's gave up an MVP in order to get back some marginally good players. For the 3rd trade in this video, we're actually going to be talking my New York Mets making some trade magic happen with R.A. Dickey. After winning the Cy Young in 2012, the Mets ended up trading R.A. Dickey to the Toronto Blue Jays in December in exchange for Travis d'Arnaud, John Buck, and Noah Syndergaard. John Buck played a short time with the Mets, ended up being traded for Marlon Byrd. d'Arnaud caught for the Mets from 2013 until 2019. Had some decent years, definitely helped them in their World Series run, but the big piece that they got, of course, was Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard came up in 2015 and has been a pretty good pitcher since. 2019's been off to a rough start, but clearly has good stuff. In 5 years with the Mets, he's 44 and 26 with a 3.2 ERA in 106 games, a 1.15 whip, strikes out 9.7 batters per 9, 8.3 hits, under a home run, and only 2.1 walks, give him a strikeout to walk ratio of 4.70. He finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year in 2015, 8th in the Cy Young in 2016, made the All-Star team, and of course was huge in the Mets World Series run in 2015. He was dominant. As for the Blue Jays and R.A. Dickey, it wasn't a match made in heaven. Blue Jays got Dickey going into his 38-year-old season, not to mention knuckleballers don't pitch well inside domes. Now in his 4 years with the Blue Jays, he wasn't terrible. He had a 4.05 ERA in 131 games, 824 innings, 49 and 52 record with a 1.251 whip. Dickey just wasn't pitching at the Cy Young level that they traded for, and giving up a guy like Syndergaard, that's gotta hurt. The next trade I gotta talk about, oh man, the Miami Marlins Marlins. They got a lot of bad ones. But the biggest uh-oh to me is when they traded Christian Yelich to the Brewers. On January 25th, 2018, the Marlins traded Christian Yelich to the Milwaukee Brewers for Lewis Brinson, Isan Diaz, Monte Harrison, and Jordan Yamamoto. Now, I'm going to give the Marlins some credit here. They actually got some good players back. Now, at the time, Lewis Brinson was the big piece in this trade, and he's ended up by far being the worst player they acquired. Monte Harrison, one of the outfielders they acquired, is the number 2 prospect in their organization, number 85 in the top 100. He's looked to be a pretty solid outfielder in the minors. And then Isan Diaz is their number 6 prospect in their minor league system, the number 8 second baseman overall. And he's looked like a really, really good hitter in AAA. The one guy that has produced at the major league level right now is Jordan Yamamoto, but it's in a very short sample size. In 6 games, he's pitched fantastic to a 4-0 record with a 1.59 ERA and a whip at .94, but when you compare it to losing Christian Yelich, yeah, it's hard to compete. Yelich went bonkers in 2018, winning the MVP, 36 homers, 34 doubles, 110 RBIs, 7 triples, 22 stolen bases, league best 326 average, 402 on base, league best 598 slugging, and an OPS at 1,000. Oh yeah, and in 2019, he's almost playing better. Through 89 games, he already has 34 homers, 18 doubles, 3 triples, and 73 RBIs, along with 23 stolen bases. He's hitting .330 with a league best 429 on base, 709 slugging, and an OPS at 1138. Yelich is on pace to win back-to-back MVPs in the National League. So yes, while some of the young players are performing for the Marlins, it does not remotely compare to what they lost in Christian Yelich. Next up is the Jake Arrieta trade. In July of 2013, the Baltimore Orioles traded Jake Arrieta along with Pedro Strop to the Chicago Cubs for Scott Feldman and Steve Clevenger. Oh, Scott Feldman and Steve Clevenger don't sound familiar to you? Well, that's because Scott Feldman was good in 2009, so when they traded for him in 2013, it was a little past his prime. And as for Steve Clevenger, in 170 games, he has 4 career home runs to a .227 average and a .608 OPS. Yeah, Orioles, not a great look. Now, in their defense, Pedro Strop and Jake Arrieta had not been great for them, but what they turned into with the Chicago Cubs, oh man, that's pretty impressive. In his first full season with the Cubs in 2014, Arrieta had a 2.53 ERA and a whip under 1. 2015, he won the Cy Young with a 22-6 record, 1.77 ERA, a whip at .865, and he never had an ERA above 3.5 in a season for the Cubs. He was a top pitcher in baseball. The Orioles traded a Cy Young player away for Steve Clevenger and Scott Feldman. Oh yeah, and they also traded away Pedro Strop, who since joining the Cubs in 2013 has not had an ERA go above 3. He's been a really good reliever. Orioles, man, just a sad organization right now. For this next trade, we're actually having the Cubs grab another top player in the game. That's gonna be Anthony Rizzo. In January of 2012, the Padres traded Anthony Rizzo along with right-handed pitcher Zach Cates to the Chicago Cubs in exchange for Andrew Cashner and Kyung-Min Na. Andrew Cashner's had a decent major league career, but he's never truly been an ace or a dominant pitcher in the game. And as for Kyung-Min Na, he's back in Korea playing and never made it higher than AAA, where he played 3 games in 2012. So I don't think you need to be a scientist to figure out that, yeah, this wasn't a great trade for the Padres. And then as for the Cubs, Zach Cates never did much, and Anthony Rizzo has just been a stud ever since putting on the Cubs uniform. Since 2014, Anthony Rizzo has been one of the best first basemen in all of baseball, averaging right around 30 home runs and 100 RBIs a year, with a batting average hovering around 300, on base hovering around 400, and a slugging in the 500s. He's finished in the top 5 of the MVP voting twice, 2-time Gold Glove winner and a Silver Slugger Award winner. In 8 years with the Cubs, he's hit 209 home runs, 245 doubles with 687 RBIs, 275 average, 374 on base, 495 slugging, and an OPS at 869. Like I said, one of the best first basemen in the game, and they got him for Andrew Cashner and Kyung-Min Na. Bargain. For this next trade, I'm sorry Padres fans, but it involves you again trading away a great player. This time it was Corey Kluber. On July 31st in 2010, the final day of the deadline that season, the Padres, Cardinals, and Indians were involved in a 3-way trade. Jake Westbrook and Nick Greenwood went to the St. Louis Cardinals. Ryan Ludwig went to the San Diego Padres. So yes, the Indians gave up Jake Westbrook, who was a solid pitcher, but was never one of these top arms in the game, and he ended up having a career ERA with the Cardinals at 4.27, so it's not like they got burned too bad. So essentially, the Padres traded Ryan Ludwig for Corey Kluber. It wasn't like Ryan Ludwig was bad either. He had a great year in 2008 where he finished 16th in the MVP voting. But after the trade to the Padres in 2010, his career kind of went downhill from there, and he wasn't much of a player ever again. And then there's Corey Kluber. Kluber's first 2 seasons with the Indians in 2011 and 12 were a bit rough, but then 2013 he started to pitch well. 2014 he won the Cy Young. 2015 he finished 9th. 2016 he finished 3rd. 2017 he won the Cy Young again for the 2nd time, and 2018 he finished 3rd again. Yeah, he's been pretty dominant. A career whip at 1.086. Doesn't walk a lot of guys, great control, strikes out a pretty good amount of batters as well. He's a really solid pitcher and healthy when he's on his game, and one of the reasons why the Indians teams have been so good the last few years. And then the final trade in this video, Padres fans, you get some revenge. This time, you're the winners in this trade. We like to call this one the Fernando Tatis Jr. trade. On June 4th of 2016, the San Diego Padres traded James Shields to the Chicago White Sox in exchange for Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, before I tell you how amazing Fernando Tatis Jr. is, let me tell you how bad James Shields has been. In his 3 seasons with the Chicago White Sox, James Shields was 16-35 with a 5.31 ERA and a whip at 1.447, career low in strikeouts, walking a lot of batters, giving up more home runs than ever, giving up more hits. He pretty much became a terrible pitcher. And now for the Padres. You got Eric Johnson, who cares? Because the big piece is Fernando Tatis Jr., who finally came up in 2019 after being a top prospect in baseball for the last couple seasons. Here's what he's done at age 20 in only 61 games this year. 15 homers, 9 doubles, 5 triples, 34 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases, along with a 325 batting average, 392 on base, 598 slugging, and an OPS at 990. He's an electric player. He's fantastic in the field. He's going to be one of the great young stars to watch in the game in the next 10, 15 years. I don't know how long his career will be, but I hope it goes on forever. He's amazing to watch. So those are the 8 worst trades in the last 10 years in Major League Baseball. I would love to know your guys' opinions on this down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Was there a trade I left out? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you want to see a part 2 of this video. I will make another one, I promise. If you guys want it, I'll do it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, you need to click that sub button, join the team. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. And that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload, so click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.